Okay. Shooting or not? Basically, what I'm talking about is continuous motion. And there might be a few clips that aren't necessarily continuous motion. I've got a couple where was he shooting, was he not, foul wise. But for the most part, I want to talk about continuous motion. And the reason I think this is important is because I don't want to say most, many officials blow their whistle, call a foul, and say on the ground, which, first of all, isn't a basketball term we should be using, but I get it. That's the way people think. On the ground, right? Not shooting. Ball's going to be for a throw on the end line or the sideline. When in fact, that player was shooting, but yet I don't know why we're so programmed to think unless he's up here and he's actually shooting the ball, he's not shooting, even though the rules are very clear about continuous motion. So, shall we get started, or do you have any questions before we start? I'll take that as a let's get started. All right. I'm going to play it fast again. Now that you've seen the play, we know what we're looking at. Kid drives down the side of the lane, gets bumped, knocked down, throws the ball up. The official calls it a shooting foul. What do you think? Doesn't throw it up. Ball doesn't even get up. But was he in the act of shooting? What do y'all think?
He was trying to.
Let's slow it down. We think that's a good call, or should that have been out of bounds?
Out of bounds.
Looks like did he lose the ball when he was going? Looks like I can't see.
All right.
But I don't know if the other side. It looks
all
like
right.
he
So
lost
did he lose the ball? Now, these are all great questions because these are part of what go into officials' minds when they factor in shooting or not shooting, and some of them unfairly. Because first thing we need to know, when did the foul occur? Not when did we blow our whistle, because it is different. The clock doesn't stop until we blow our whistle, right? And we don't mess with time until up to the point of where the whistle is blown. But when did the foul occur? Because as officials, we're always behind. Once we see contact, it takes reaction time to put air in the whistle. So when did this foul, the contact for the foul, happen?
On that bump right there.
Right
the
there?
Initial bump. Yeah, on the bump. Or that contact right there. Obviously the person didn't have legal guarding position. And it was kind of weird that the lead actually got the call when the C is looking right at it, but that's a different issue.
Well, we could talk about all that, but let's talk about the continuous motion first. I think you're right. I think the official is ruling this as the contact because that is what knocked the dribbler / shooter off of balance. Do we agree?
Yep.
Okay. So with continuous motion, and I have to paraphrase, I don't have the rules book in front of me. With continuous motion, the rule states that a player is allowed to finish the usual shooting motion, which includes any arm or foot movements. Meaning, if they're stepping for a regular, like step into a layup, they're allowed to finish that step. Is he trying to finish this step? Do we agree he looks like he's going to shoot here?
Yeah, he does this. You can see he's extending his right arm to create space. So there is an opportunity for him to create that space and then shoot something. Whether it's, so it looks like he's looking at the basket. He's created the space.
Okay.
You could consider that an attempt.
So it looks like he is trying to shoot here, at least attempting to shoot. Correct? Gets fouled, and then looks like the ball gets knocked out, or he loses the ball, or it doesn't quite get up. So does that negate that he was trying to shoot the ball?
No,
No,
No.
and he was trying to shoot the ball when he got fouled. So now that he's been fouled while trying to shoot the ball, what is the penalty?
2 shots.
2 shots.
He gets 2 shots. He gets the continuous motion to try and finish the shot, which he doesn't. So if he were to grab it here and then throw it up and it goes in, we wouldn't count that, correct?
After he lost the ball,
Yes.
recovered? No.
So the ball gets knocked loose here. He's like, oh crap, I'm going to grab it real quick and I'm going to throw it up and it goes into the basket. That
Right.
wouldn't
Well-
count as a basket, but he would still get 2 shots because he was fouled in the act of shooting. Do we agree?
Correct. Ball is dead after the whistle.
Right? So when we're thinking about shooting fouls, and I guess this isn't necessarily continuous motion either, but think about shooting fouls. Once the foul occurs and the contact happens, and you determine that that player was in the act of shooting when that foul happened, everything that happens after does not change the fact that that player was fouled in the act of shooting. The continuous motion allows him to finish his motion to try and score the 2 points anyway. And so we give that. But if he does anything after that, which negates the continuous motion, the fact that he got fouled in the act of shooting remains. Agreed?
Hey, Josh,
Yes.
the foul, when I see it, the foul occurred pretty early from when he picked up his dribble. I mean, how do you know he wasn't going to try to drive and pass back out at that point? It seems awfully early when the foul occurred to determine that he was going to shoot. I see as you advance to play a little more, sure, but if the foul occurs up here, how do you know he wasn't intending on passing? He gave no indication that he was going to shoot the ball.
No, I mean, I disagree. He has a gather right there. He's gathered the ball, and if he doesn't really have any other options to pass, but he's gathered the ball. He creates the space right there, and he looks at the rim, and so all of that goes into your judgment, of course, but that's an attempt to shoot.
Okay, so this is a great question because a lot of times you'll hear, I don't know that he's going to shoot the ball. He could do anything. He could dish it off. He could have, and then he got bumped and he's like, I changed my mind. And I get all that. I could go up for a shot, jump in the air, 3 feet in the air, get ready to shoot, and decide to pass the ball, right? All the way to the moment until I leave the hand. So I'm technically not shooting the ball until the ball leaves my hand because I can do something else with it. But the act of shooting begins at the habitual motion. Why do I keep using quote marks? It begins at the habitual motion of that shot because he might not be able to finish that shot if he was trying, right? Yes, you and I don't know. But what happened? Did he pass the ball away? Because if he passed the ball away, then I would say absolutely he wasn't shooting, he passed it. But because he attempted to shoot it, even if that wasn't his initial thought when he was driving the lane, I'm still giving him the shots because that's what he did. And I don't know what he was doing. You don't know what he was doing, but he shot the ball or attempted there. You saw the kind of motion which got the ball knocked. I'm giving him the shots. Does that help with your question? Or anytime anyone says, I don't know what he picked it up way over there. He could have done something else. Yes, he could have.
Yeah.
Always
Okay.
could have. But what did he actually do? How did the play progress and how did it finish? That's what I'm going to judge the action on because I cannot, like I said, and I've seen players jump up. It looks like they're going for a shot and then they dish to their partner, their teammate who's literally right under the basket and they catch it and they put it in. I would have thought for sure that would have been a shot, but he can always change. So watch the whole action, see how it finishes, see what he did. And if he shoots the ball after the contact, he was in the act of shooting.
Thank you.
I think Josh, I think the line start, develop, finish, and decide helps you in a continuous motion situation.
Right. And if you have that train of thought, and we've had
Right.
that meeting before, start, develop, finish, right? Watch the whole play, see the play develop. You can go, boop, got a foul. And if you're watching the play, you can see he ultimately went in and went for a shot. Okay, great. But if I blow my whistle and I automatically say, there's no way he was shooting, not a chance. And then the kid goes in and shoots the layup. Everyone in the gym sees him shooting the ball. and you're telling everyone that he wasn't shooting the ball. Well, how do you know? You don't actually know, right? I don't have like the be all end all answer of this is the way it is. And once it's this point, this is the way it is. And once it gets to this point, it's the other. We have to kind of watch the play and see how it develops and determine after all is said and done what actually happened. Let me move on to the next clip. Okay, looks like if you watch the lead, there was a double whistle, which we're not going to talk about the double whistle, but the lead takes the call. And if you watch the lead, it looks like he signals to the end line that there's going to be a throw-in. So what's my question going to be?
Was he shooting?
Was he shooting or was he not shooting? What do you think?
He's shooting.
Yeah, of course he was shooting.
Well, wait a second. He goes up for shot here. He's trying to finish his continuous motion, and then he
was fouled.
Pulls the ball down. It gets knocked out of his hand.
That's a 2-shot foul.
I guess I would have to ask you, Josh, where's the whistle being blown? Where's the contact? Because it appears he lost the ball before the whistle, and he recovered the ball, and then the foul occurred.
Okay, so hold on. It looks like he got fouled. Sorry.
Got fouled twice.
It's like the whistle was blown about here, roughly.
All right, and that ball's loose.
Okay, but why is that ball loose?
Because he was going up the arm.
Because he got fouled while he was trying to shoot the ball. Right? So at the very least, this should be a 2-shot foul. Correct?
No, what I'm asking you, yes, he was trying to shoot the ball. He got fouled. The ball becomes loose. Then after the whistle, he recovers and then attempts a shot. At what point was the ball like dead? Like the play's over when it became loose?
Okay.
You called a foul. It became loose. Now you continue to try to catch the ball and then throw it up there after you recover it. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying, and I don't have a clear answer. I didn't read the rule before the meeting. I usually
kind of like the first one where he gathered, he lost the ball, and if he caught it again as he was going down, he threw it up towards the backboard, which you've counted the throwing up at to the basket to count the basket.
He lost the ball here, yes?
He lost it because you can see it's loose there.
Which I would say is probably after the foul was called.
Exactly.
Okay. But he lost it because he got hit illegally, right? Which is why we called the foul.
Right.
Regained the ball. I think technically as the rules are written, that cannot be considered continuous motion. Okay, by the rule. But I'm going to allow it. Because he got hit. The ball got knocked, not terribly loose. The ball got knocked because he got hit, and he happened to get it right back again and threw it up. I'm counting that bucket.
Yeah, the ball went in.
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
that doesn't mean I'm right. Because again, I think, and one of you can correct me or I'll check it after the meeting, but I think the rule is written once the ball leaves the hands, then the motion is over and you can't start another motion after that. I don't know if it was written with this in mind, where the ball, gets knocked out because of the foul and he grabs it again and he shoots it. Maybe it was. But if I'm going up and I'm shooting and I get hit and the ball just gets like popped out and I grab it and I shoot it, I'm giving it to him. Because what athleticism and foresight of that kid to continue through that contact to put that shot in. Now, if he loses it and comes down and finishes his 1-2 or something, it might be different, right? Every play's a little different. Every situation's a little different. But by rule,
Yeah, but kind of described it perfect. Once it leaves the hands, can he get it back and leave the hands again and still be part of that continuous motion?
yeah, and I think the rule is written once the ball leaves the hands, it's no longer continuous motion. But at the very least, we agree that was at least a shooting foul.
Yeah, he was
that
going
was
to.
I'll agree.
You're going to get 3.
All right.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hey, real quick. So in that situation, are you having because you said it looked like your partner had pointed out of bounds that he wasn't going to count the shot. So are you going in and have a conversation with him, tell him what you saw? Because actually that was really your call more so than his. But if you're going to give it up to him, are you at least going to have a conversation with him to let him know that we had a good bucket and we're going for a 3-point play?
All right. So we've got 2 whistles on the foul, right? And the ball came from where?
Came from
It's on the
C.
center side.
C.
Center side.
That's right. It came from center, which means center has it all the way to the basket. In fact, it's in his area, so it didn't even cross areas.
All right.
The center dropped his arm right away. Now, shame on that center to let the lead take his call. Okay? Because now again, this is the 3rd foul. Maybe that center had the first 2 fouls. Maybe that center said, you can have this one. I don't want to be the one who looks like I'm trying to control the game here. Possible, right?
We'll let you get away with that one. Go ahead.
But I would agree with you that the center should get it and come in.
Right.
Take it. Because it wasn't like the lead was block and out of bounds. And right. He went up and posted and holded too. So, but after the center gives it up, and then okay, that was me. After the center gives it up and sees that the lead is not giving a shooting foul, when the center's like, that's a shooting foul, the center shouldn't run in there and say that was a shooting foul. You gave the call up. It's the lead's call. The lead makes the ruling. Whatever the lead says goes. Don't go in there and start to influence your partner's calls, because that's what they saw, and it's their judgment, and it's not a rule that they're misapplying per se. Their judgment was they were not in the act of shooting and we're not going to do it. So if you go in and you try to start changing calls, you're going to open a whole can of worms with the coaches that are going to start expecting you to come in every time that, they think you have got something different.
Unless you just didn't know it went in.
Well, you can go in and let them know the ball went into the basket, and you should do that. Even if you see them count it, like, oh, it's good, you don't need to tell them the ball went in because they counted it, right? Everybody saw them. But if they don't count it and they're saying we got 2 shots, then you got to tell them the ball went in. But the lead pointed out of bounds here, which means he's not giving them 2 shots. It was not a shooting foul. I don't need to tell him the ball went in because he says it wasn't a shooting foul. Understood? All right. Okay, this was it's like a pass to a shot, right? And then a foul. Now, my question is, clearly he waved it off. My question is, again, was this player shooting? Was she in the act of shooting when she got fouled?
Right.
Was she
there.
shooting?
Yep.
It sure looks like she was making an attempt to shoot the ball right there when she got fouled. And then she comes back down and puts another one up or another attempt to come up. But that doesn't negate the fact that she was trying to shoot this first time when she got fouled and the whistle was blown. Do you see the official on the lead starting to put his hand up? So we know that the foul was for this first contact because he started to put his hand up right after that and before this other contact here. Pass.
On the way up.
Trying to shoot. Didn't get up very high, but don't you think she was trying to shoot?
Absolutely.
That small upward motion, and someone mentioned this before. Look what she is looking at. Is she going to pass that ball?
No,
Is she going to dribble that ball?
no.
Is she going to pivot? Who looks up at the basket when they're going to do anything but shoot the ball? I don't know anybody. I mean, you got to be really good if you're going to fool somebody, but it's just her in the basket right now. So why wouldn't you shoot? Agreed? So all this action that she does after and up and down and kind of stayed with the ball and didn't come out of my hands has no bearing on whether that should be a shooting foul or not. Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Too easy for you guys. I got to find something that's harder. All right. I've seen this signal a couple times this year. Makes me chuckle. We got a fast break transition into a layup. Foul was called, and it was ruled not a shooting foul. But was he? What do you think? Shooting or not shooting?
Shooting.
But
He was on his way. Yeah, he was on his way to the rim.
Didn't you see the official?
Yeah, he waved it off.
He said it happened way up here. Waved it off and then said, look, right here. That's where it happened. So that means it's not a shooting foul then, right?
That means that it's out of judgment.
Okay. I bring that up because I know what he's trying to convey to everybody. There's no way he can go from here to the basket and have it be a shot, or the foul happened way up here, way before he was shooting the ball. That's what he's trying to convey. I get that. But first of all, just because the foul happened way up there, does that mean he can't be in the act of shooting when he got fouled?
He got hit on the arm.
He definitely got
gathers.
He definitely got fouled. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't said this word yet today, but I'm going to, even though it's not in the rules book. The gather. A couple people have said it already. The gather. The gather is not a rules book term. The gather, or he gathered it, should never be used when defending a call that you made or didn't make on continuous motion or shooting or not shooting. Don't ever say he gathered it. Not, I mean, you could say it amongst officials, but not to a coach to describe or a player or anything. That is not a thing. And if you start to say he gathered it right here, coach, you're only going to get yourself in trouble in the long run. Some coaches may say nothing, but one coach needs to say one thing, and now you're going to have to kind of defend your action or your speech on that, because the gather has nothing to do with it. Now, with that said, the gather is a great reference point, a general rule of thumb as to when a player is going to start their shooting motion. Okay, so I'm saying let's use the gather as a general rule of thumb. Doesn't always happen at the gather, but more often than not, when they start to gather the ball, they're stopping their dribble and they're going to make a motion to either shoot or pass, right? Now here, this player, do we think this player is clearly going to shoot the ball?
Of course.
He started all the way up here. The referee was correct. He got fouled all the way up here. But was he in the act of shooting? Did he start his motion?
Yes. Going up.
Then he got fouled right here, yeah? Is he allowed to continue to try and make that shot?
Yes.
He sure is.
It
That should
looks
be
a little
2 points.
confusing because his arms are coming up for the shot before he's finished with his steps.
Right, which has no bearing
Right.
on whether that is a shooting motion or not, and it has no bearing on continuous motion. If I normally shoot a layup like this, and yeah, he's got to move the ball slightly because it's in the way of the defender. But if I move the ball normally like this and I normally step like this, then I'm allowed to do that again, whether I get fouled or not. Do we agree?
Yeah. Josh, I've used that continuous motion phrase with coaches, and they go, "What is that?" And you know, they don't know what it is, and then the wise guy said, "Well, what is this? The ABA?" And going back in years when the ABA was a little more lenient in terms of steps, but I like the gather, but some of them don't know it. Some of them don't know what continuous motion is either.
Yeah, so stay away from the gather. And you know what? Some coaches, especially at the lower levels, are going to roll their eyes or even maybe yell at you and say this isn't the NBA and all that. But continuous motion is a thing. And you could say, Coach, that's continuous motion. Continuous? Are you kidding me, Coach? He was in the act of shooting. He's allowed to finish that act of shooting. And you know what? You're not going to convince him. So you don't need to go further beyond that. Even if he's being nice to you and calm to you, I mean, you can have him talk to you, but what else can you say? There's nothing else you can say other than continuous motion is a rule, and he's allowed to do that. So he's going to disagree, and that's okay. But don't say, Coach, he gathered it right here. And then once he gathered it, he started his motion, because he can use that against you. Maybe not right then at that moment, but call your assigner or call whoever to complain that this official doesn't know the rule and they're calling rules based on a gather. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'll do that coach one better. What's the ABA?
The ABA goes way back.
Way back.
American Basketball
That's
Association.
before the NBA.
I've heard of it.
I'm old enough to know that one. Yeah.
But I think the golden ticket that play should have had is just a no call. It was marginal contact. Just give him the free layup. Let the game
I don't
play
know.
on.
I think I saw enough contact on his arm that could, and I know we said we don't know what he's going to do. No, we don't know what he's going to do, but he got hit on the arm, and that could alter his balance or his quickness or his, RSBQ enough that he doesn't get that shot. Now he's in the act of shooting. You're going to get him the shots, but now he might not be able to continuously finish that shot and put it in because he got knocked off balance by that hit. Someone told me once, and I think you guys know this. If you don't, I don't like calling fouls. Don't like it at all. If there's any contact, if it's close to marginal, I don't call it, because these are big boys, big girls, varsity level. They can play through that stuff. They should play through that stuff. And we shouldn't be stopping with whistles on little contact. But when it comes to a shooter, little contact does matter, or could matter, because if it knocks him just slightly as a shot, the whole shot is misaligned and may not go in now. So that's when we have to be a little more, I'm going to get that foul because it was marginal contact, but it knocked the shot off its direction or its balance or whatever you want to say. And we still get to make that judgment. So Jacob, you could say you think it's a no call, and that's okay. That's your judgment to say didn't have any effect on him. And I think you're right in that play. If there was a no call, nobody would have probably said anything, right? Because he went to the bucket, he laid it in, and it was 2 shots. So that's why we get paid the big bucks.
We agree. I think we agree on the call on the floor was not great, because you're essentially punishing the offense when they had an easy 2 points. That's not a good solution. However, I think the answer for a lot of these is just have a very late whistle. See the play to the end. This is like 101, clinic stuff, which is see the play to the end, put a whistle on, and this is a no call because he made it with ease. If he were to brick it or hit the underside of the rim, then I'd be like, oh, got to come get it, because obviously it had a tangible effect on the play. And then just seeing everything, being late as possible, really helps with these kind of things.
All right. This is a good one. Pay attention. Everything's going to happen at the top of the key here, okay? All right, the official counted the basket, and the foul was not on the shooter. Okay, let's watch it again before I slow it down. Is that the correct ruling? Here's the slow version. It's not great video, but clearly a foul. Do we agree that that's a foul?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the foul. And I
Right
think he blows the whistle here, well, maybe here, right around here. So he's in the act of shooting. The shooter is, right?
Yeah.
I would say he's in the act of shooting right around here. Looks like he's starting to put it up. Do we agree? Act of shooting about here?
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
So if that's the case, this player just runs through these players and then pushes through the screen right as the player is in the act of shooting. It's close. I get it. I'm not going to split hairs. I'm going to say that shooter was in the act of shooting when the contact for the foul occurred. There was contact initially, wasn't deemed a foul until he pushed through that screen. He was in the act of shooting. So we got a whistle. But now what? The whistle, I think, was even while the ball was in his hands. The ball has not left the shooter's hands yet.
Ball becomes dead.
Do we count that shot?
Nope. I don't.
Yeah, we do.
What does the continuous motion rule say? And I'll paraphrase again because I don't have it right in front of me. But if there is a foul by the opponent when the shooter is in the act of shooting, they're allowed the continuous motion to finish their usual motion of shooting, right?
The
Right.
foul wasn't on the opponent, though.
It
He called a
doesn't
defensive
say the
foul.
foul has to happen on the shooter. It simply needs to be a foul by their opponent. So since he fouled another player, he's still allowed to continue that shot. Because if he isn't that kind of unfair? I see he's going to shoot a 3-point. There's 2 seconds left in the game. He's going to shoot a 3-point. I'm just going to shove somebody next to me, and now the ball's dead, and we win. Right?
Well,
That's kind of the
He called an offensive foul, though.
that's not an offensive foul. It was a defender going through an offensive screen. The defender was trying to get to the shooter. Here, I'll play it again.
Well, the mechanic, says
All right, now what did you say, George?
watch how he reports it. He reports it as an offensive foul.
No, he counts the bucket. He's counting it right there.
Yeah, is this sign of is it a sign of a delay? The sign
He
is
went
just
tweet.
almost like a delayed
He
lane
blows,
violation.
yes, he blows his whistle and he watches the ball. He's pointing. There's a foul there. He's like, "Oh wait, it's going to," and he counts it. Now remember, George, they got rid of that punch. A punch is not an offensive foul anymore, so he's not punching. Although he probably punches on player control fouls, but he's counting the ball. So that is a defensive foul.
I thought he was punching.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
That
No,
was a
I think
Go
he's calling a defensive foul. He's pointing. He's not. He has one finger pointing the other way. I think he's called a defensive foul.
Yeah, he's called a foul on the white player. I know this for a fact because he sent me this clip. The whistle blew when he was in the act of shooting, I think. I'll play it again. Listen. Hey, now the ball was clearly in his hands when the whistle blew. It was not out of his hands yet. But again, as I said, the continuous motion rule applies to even a foul on a non-shooting player. So if there's a shooter and a foul happens on someone else, as long as it's the defender fouling, they're still allowed to continue their shooting motion.
It's frequently used as a last second shot. I've seen this play multiple times. I've never seen the defenders crash through the screens that way, though. Usually they just stop once they're screened and the shot's uncontested.
So Josh,
Yes.
when the official signaled that the basket was good, what did they do after that? They called a foul on the defensive team.
So,
Yep. And what does the team that had the ball get the ball back out of bounds again? Or was it a more than the fifth foul or shooting? What?
okay, that's a great question because it's not a shooting foul, right?
Right.
The foul was on a non-shooting player.
It
Just
could be a
because
shooting foul.
it was not a shooting foul. The
It could be,
shooter was in the act of shooting, so he's allowed continuous motion, but the foul was on a non-shooting player. And
It
what
was
is the
away from
penalty
the
when there's a
play.
foul against a non-shooting player?
Common foul.
But if they're in the bonus,
Okay, well, let's take the bonus out of it first.
okay.
They're not in the bonus. I'm shooting the ball. My teammate gets fouled. I continue my motion. The ball goes in. We get 3 points. Now what do?
The same team.
28-foot line throw.
Administer the foul.
One of the 4 designated spots, depending on where the foul occurred. Because the foul maybe occurred in the paint, it might go to the 3-foot mark. This one would go to the 3-foot mark because it happened in the semicircle. Right? So they get the points, they get the ball out of bounds. If they're in the bonus, the player that got fouled goes to the line and shoots the bonus shots.
Hey, Josh.
It's hard to wrap your mind around because you're like, wait, you get to 1 point, but he wasn't fouled, so you're not going to give him an extra point. You're going to handle it just like anything else. Yes.
Yeah, I got the rules book out.
All right, read it to me.
I will. It says section 11, the continuous motion, Article 3. Continuous motion does not apply if a teammate fouls after a player has started his try or tap for a field goal before the ball is in flight. The ball becomes dead immediately.
When a teammate fouls.
Yeah, that's the offense.
When a
That's
teammate
when the
fouls.
offense fouls.
That was not his teammate.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was defense.
Now, I'm glad you brought that up, though, because if you have an offensive foul, which is a foul by the teammate, you're not going to allow continuous motion. I don't care what he was doing. The ball is dead immediately. Now, if the ball is into the air and there's a team control foul, do you count it or not?
Yes.
You do count it because the ball's out of his hands.
That's what I think the rule says.
Right.
But any defensive player fouls any other player, continuous motion applies. All right.
It happens a lot. I had it happen to me a week ago where a guy took a 3 and the defender came and just threw the offensive rebounder out of the lane.
Right.
Literally just tossed him. And it's same thing. Okay, basket counts and you get the ball on the end line. The coach went nuts.
And coaches are going to nuts because, again, even though it's not an uncommon thing, it's also not a common thing, right? Most of those plays happen on the foul against the shooter. Everyone knows how that works. He gets one shot. And I think we talked, let's close out fouls. And we talked a little bit about not even the airborne shooter splitting hairs on that. And everyone just knows that this is the way it works. And so when it's not on that normal formula, we have to know what we're doing because we're going to get yelled at and be told we don't know what we're doing. And that's not the rule. And even though we know what the rule is.
So you could have a 5-point play.
You could, yeah. You could have a 6-point play.
Yeah. They didn't like it.
Well, 6-point play. I think you mean with bonus shots, but I mean, they pass the ball in and get another 3-pointer.
Another 3.
All right. Let's try. I'm just going to let this play. And if you don't have sound, turn your sound up because there's kids, high school kids commenting on this game. And I love it when the kids comment. But it speaks to what we're talking about.
Now to Gasek in the corner. Gasek's 3-pointer won't fall. Defensive rebound now. Here come the Huskies. Right hand finish at the basket and one to start out the game for Bryce Welch.
Called off.
No. They're going to say it was on the ground. It very much looked like it was a continuous motion, but the referees don't think so. So no points here, and the Huskies will have another opportunity.
Did you all hear that? These high school kids know the continuous motion rule. So their point was it sure looked like he was shooting, but the referees didn't think so, and so we're not going to do it. And that's ultimately what it comes down to, our judgment again, right? Was he shooting, was he not? Doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It matters what the ruling official thinks. But was this kid in the act of shooting when he got fouled? Here it is again.
Now to Gasek in the corner. Gasek's three-pointer won't fall. Defensive rebound now. Here come the Huskies. Right hand finish at the basket, and one to start out the game for Bryce Welch.
Called off.
No, they're gonna say it was on the ground.
And he points again. He points at where he says the foul occurred. So there's no way that this could be a shooting foul because he was fouled all the way up here. Well, as we already know from the other video, that's bupkis. That has nothing to do with whether he's in the act of shooting or not. The kid is dribbling, right? Dribble, starts to gather the ball here, which means he's probably going to shoot, right? I'm going to go back here. Who's in his way? Is there anybody in his way for a shot? I mean, other than that primary defender. It just get around that defender and you get your 2 points, right? So what do you think this kid is doing?
Shooting.
He's not going to pass it, right? I suppose he could stop and wait for his teammates to come in. That's possible. But is that what he did? No. And what did I say before? Watch how the play develops and what did the player actually do. So he gathers the ball here, starts his usual shooting motion, right? Isn't this stepping motion usual on a layup for a pass? A layup for a pass. Layup for a shot.
Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So he was shooting. So yes, the official is correct. He got fouled all the way up here. 100% agree with that. But he was in the act of shooting. And he's continuing his shooting motion. And the ball went in, right? And the ball went in. Should have got 2 points for that. And an extra shot. Do we all agree with that one, or do we see something different?
I agree with you, Josh, but my quick question is that when 15, if you rewind it, 15 reached in, grabbed him, that I'm just trying to figure out if that's what he saw. If he's saying he grabbed him right there,
okay,
but he's still in the act.
What is he doing right now? Even if 15 grabs him here, what is he doing?
He's gathering himself. He's he's going up.
Looks like he started his motion into this layup that every player does when they go make a layup motion to the basket. So even if it's 15, I think that's continuous motion.
Absolutely. I agree with you, but I'm just trying to figure out.
Josh.
Yeah.
He couldn't have seen that foul by 15. He was straight line in that position.
Yeah.
No, maybe not, but the officials call things all the time where you're like, what? How could you, right? Sometimes we make assumptions, right or wrong. I don't think that's the foul that he had, but the point is it doesn't matter. The point is, even if that was the foul, he was in the act of shooting at that point. He started his motion and he wants to continue and should be allowed to continue. And just because he left at the three-point line, the free throw line, doesn't negate the fact that he was in the act of shooting. So we need to allow that. And you probably will hear some grief from the opposing coach saying, are you kidding me? He wasn't shooting, right? But the other team all thinks that he was shooting. You all saw the kids going like this because they all thought he was shooting. So you're never going to please both sides. Someone's always going to think that you're doing it wrong. But that's why we have to know what we're doing and do it right.
So Josh?
Yeah.
Quick question. So if you go back to that, and I've noticed this on a couple of, so as the official's coming down the floor chasing, he's actually chasing this break.
Right, because the ball looks like it was the kids are just
out. He got watch. He's out in front of him, almost right there. So should he have stopped to get a good look at? kind of what's the tempo of the play? What is the player doing? He's trying to beat him to the end line. He's not going to do it. Sometimes you have a better view if you just settle your feet, settle your head, and watch the play.
All right. So this is a good question because I've got my own
It's
personal
position.
opinions on this. That generally they'll tell you it's better to stop and watch the action, but they don't want you to stop here. Because what if he gets
you're
all the
beat.
way down to here before he gets fouled and you're standing all the way back up at the 28-foot mark? That's pretty far away. Don't you agree? They generally want you to stop around the 3-point line, maybe the free throw line extended. So I don't know. I think you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't in this play.
If I'm going to stop, I'm going to stop at C.
Right about there.
Yeah. I'm not stopping at trail. I'm stopping at C.
Now, I'll give you my personal opinion, which is contradictory of what everyone else will tell you. So just take it with a grain of thought. I think stopping is overrated. I think stopping to watch a play from behind doesn't give you much of a better look than it does if you're running along with the play. I think stopping to watch the play from behind makes you look like, not lazy, but makes you look like you're kind of giving up on the play. That's not what you're doing at all. I totally get that. But the perception, it looks like, oh, he just stopped. Why isn't that ref even continuing to run with the play? So I tend to not do that. I feel maybe the older you get, the harder it is. But I feel if I'm running with the play, I could still see the play just fine. That's me. Now, again,
It is harder the older you get.
well, I'm almost there. But if you do feel as though, hey, I'm running, I can still see, I say keep running. My personal opinion, keep running and stay with the play because you're going to look like you're hustling and you're trying to get the call right and you're trying to be on top of it. And the coaches will exceed that more than you stopping and getting the perfect angle to see that play. I just think sometimes it does work out that way, but most of the time what I've seen, it doesn't. But it probably doesn't help you because I just told you to do something that I just told you not to do earlier. But again, on that play, I really do think he's damned if he does, he's damned if he doesn't. He stops to watch the play. He's too far away when it happens. If he continues to run with it, he's running with the play and doesn't see it as properly either. So you're going to have to make that decision at that moment as to what you think you should do. And everybody's different. I don't know.
Or maybe just don't get beat on the play.
Yeah, that too.
Okay, now, Jacob, that's coming from a young man. Because I'm not that old either, and I'm already feeling I just can't keep up. And at any transition, that one, maybe he had more of a chance. That wasn't a quick steal, but there's times where there's no way you can keep with these. But you probably can. I used to. 20 years ago, I was on top of it, but I know you were joking. Well, you're half joking.
Yeah, well, once with college people, they just all blow right by you. It's like you're not even running.
Let's see. How about
Josh, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go.
In my opinion, I never see this called correctly. So tell me if I'm wrong. A shooter's going up to take a jump shot. The defender is leaping and flying through the air in an attempt to block it. The act of shooting ends when the shooter returns to the floor. So the defender fouls the player, but he's already landed. To me, that's an on the ground foul. If the basket goes in, the basket counts and they get the ball back. But I always see everybody calling that a shooting foul because, the guy jumped while the player was shooting. But am I correct? Once he lands and the foul occurs, it's the act of shooting has ended.
So yes, once he hits the floor, he is no longer an airborne shooter, and any foul after he hits the floor is a common foul. And you are correct. Lots of officials, and we had a meeting a couple of months ago where I said, don't split hairs, because lots of officials and everyone, the fans, all think anything like that is an and one. He was shooting and he got hit. And so we do need to know whether they came down or whether they were fouled in the air. Is that what you were asking? Did I answer that properly?
Exactly. It has nothing to do with when the defender started jumping up in the air. It has to do with when the shooter was fouled. So that's exactly what I was addressing. I don't know why I always see whenever I'm working, people are calling that shooting, or people that my partners are calling those shooting fouls, and I'm like, am I calling this too often wrong? But I think you confirmed that I was correct on that.
All right. Let's see. 6.3 seconds left in the second period. 2-point game. Here's the play. Time expires. Now, it's not the end of the game, but time expires and the half is over. Was that a foul or was it not?
That's a foul.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that was a foul. He's in his space, didn't allow the shooter to come down.
So, hold on.
Shooter landed on his right foot.
Yeah.
Now, this
absolutely.
angle, we can't see the best at this angle, right? How much
Right.
contact, we had a couple months ago about closeout fouls, and we need to protect the shooter. Was there contact in the torso? I'm not convinced there was. Were they both allowed to land properly? It looks like the defender lands on the foot of the offensive player. Is that a foul? I don't know. Is that marginal? He allowed him to land. You can't land on someone else. I get that.
Yeah, wouldn't that be a flagrant foul?
He's hitting his leg.
Right.
He ran into him.
He's in his right.
All right.
It's not allowing the shooter to come down.
He jumps from the 3-point line into the shooter.
That's a foul.
Absolutely.
I think that's a foul.
I'm blowing my whistle.
Yeah, I think that's a foul. Now, let this play out, because was this basket good or not good?
No.
It's 0.6 left on the clock. Did it get out of his hands in time?
Yeah.
Well, this official thinks so.
Right. Oh.
It didn't. It shouldn't have counted.
All right, let's
Can
go
you
back.
replay that, Josh?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
let's go
splitting
back.
hairs. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to do it real slow. 0.7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Is the ball out?
Gone.
Yeah.
We
It's
got
out.
0.2 left on the clock.
Yeah.
Still hasn't hit the backboard yet, but still 0.1. So that basket was good.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, he heard the horn after. Yeah.
And you let everybody know that.
And the official appropriately, you know how much I hate whistles after the quarter. The official appropriately blows his whistle. You need a whistle in this instance. That was so close. Whether it could be good or not good, you've got to blow your whistle and everybody know good or no good. Right? All right. That was a bonus play. It was still kind of a shooting or not shooting type closeout. I don't know.
Looks like someone's personal highlight reel to me.
Well, if I'm being honest, Jacob, the reason I clipped it, was the closeout foul, but I was sending it to my partners and my buddies to say, look how much I sold that goal. Don't I look good? You got to have fun with that, right? I mean, I got the power of the video here. I can make whatever video I want. All right, was that helpful, shooting or not? I guess it was half active shooting and half continuous motion, but I think we kind of described what we need to be looking for when it comes to whether a shot is good or not. Yes?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I've got to show my schedule for next month. Next month, and this is important. I need everybody who's on the call to listen and help me spread the word next month, because I have to make a change to the schedule. Monday, February 5th is when we're going to have our next meeting. I'm going to try and send out several emails to let everybody know, and we're going to go over and back violations, backcourt violations. Okay, so next month, if you plan on attending, it's going to be Monday, the 5th. And I got lots and lots and lots of backcourt violations. Hopefully we'll have a few weird ones that we can talk about. And
Josh, if we can't make that February, will you be able to watch it? Are you going to record it and like you usually do?
of course, every meeting that we have, I put on YouTube after the fact, so you can always go on and watch it. I suggest you do it because, you know, even if there's one little thing that you pull out, but all right, take care, everyone.
Thanks, Josh.
All right, enjoy your evening.
Hey.
Thanks for coming, guys.
All right, thanks,
Josh.
Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.